Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 15 of season 4 of the F123 My Team career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Dutch Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on yesterday's video from Belgium, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. The title fight between myself and Max Verstappen is getting even more dramatic there. 16 points between us as we head into this weekend, but yeah, this is Max Verstappen's home circuit, of course. Home territory for him. So, to be completely honest, there is no track more than this when we want to try and take a win away from the Dutchman there. Of course, he's still the only winner of the Dutch Grand Prix since it came back in real-life Formula 1. However, in the games, he's often had a lot less luck around this venue. So, for our sake this weekend, we can only hope that continues there. 16 back in the drivers, 45 clear in the constructors, though, as we head into this weekend of racing action. Of course, if you're new around here, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourselves subscribed there. We're closing in on 120,000 subscribers at the moment, and it would be greatly appreciated if you could help me get one step closer. But yeah, Dutch Grand Prix, high downforce, high stakes, we need to win. Well, just like last weekend then in Belgium, the threat of rain looming around this Dutch Grand Prix circuit. Actually very weird, of course. More and more now the tracks I'm racing on F123 I've also done some league racing at. So, of course, we've got just that little bit extra experience and expertise on the cars. Zandvoort, though, is one of the weird ones where I have actually done league racing around here, but it actually feels like it's more difficult in this car because you're carrying so much extra speed into a lot of the corners. You actually often find yourself just running a little bit wide into some of the braking zones there. Of course, as always, though, you know, this is a very high downforce circuit inside the game, so I've got to be very careful with that. But hopefully, obviously, we can just try and make it right the way through. I have taken the gamble of going with a very high downforce setup, though. Really hoping that we can get to the front after qualifying, otherwise we might be in trouble come race day Sunday. But anyways, we round our way towards the end of this first run in Q1. Of course, as always, we'll go out on a set of the medium compound tyres. A second up on Bottas at the moment, so unless something goes disastrously wrong, we should be safely through there. I mean, yeah, the time's getting very quick now in this series. Of course, you know, maxed out car has been very good fun doing a lot of the runs around a lot of these tracks, but shortest run out of the final corner up towards the line. 108.4 there puts us 9th, and that should be enough. Well, first time this weekend then we've used a set of the soft compound tyres, and yeah, looks like we want to be aiming for 1:07s if we want to try and get a good representative on the board. So let's wait and see then what we can do as we round the final corner, about to start my first proper attacking qualifying lap. Of course, yeah, you can run the car out wide to start the lap, but really do want to hug the right hand side at the end of a lap as well, nudging the gravel instantly as we head down towards turn 1. That was not ideal, but luckily we're able to gather it up. A little bit ragged in places then on my first Q2 run. We know there's definitely a lot of time to find if we need to, up towards the line. Yeah, 8.7 there only puts me P12. We're going to need a second lap. Less than a minute left on the clock then, so this has become suddenly a little bit nerve-wracking. Of course, we need to make sure that we actually get the lap nailed here. Like I said, we've taken a big gamble in terms of car setup, and it really does rely on us being right towards the front of the field. So sweat mode is going to be required. Let's really try and go for it. Well, not been a perfect lap, but certainly has been a big improvement over the first one. Verstappen has set the benchmark on a 1:07.5. We're going to improve by a second, almost exactly, to do a 1:07.7 there. So that'll be good enough to see us through. Only P6, but it is incredibly fine margins. Suddenly now, as we head into Q3, rain has hit the circuit. Looks like it's starting to dissipate a little bit right towards the end of the session here, but Verstappen's had a disaster, currently only down in P8. We just kind of waited right towards the end of qualifying here, but this is about to get very scary. Zandvoort in the wet is a tough and tight, twisty challenge. Well, luckily, as we round the final corner, I've given myself enough time to go for a double run here if needed. It could be one of those sessions where the track just continues to improve as it goes on, so let's wait and see. We'll get the first lap on, and then we'll see what we can do on the second. Tsunoda continues to set the timing screens alight, so we know there is definitely grip on the circuit. First lap's not going to be bad, but it's not going to be fantastic either. We're going to get one more shot of this. 15.5, sorry. We need another 6 tenths there as Oscar Piastri will immediately go fastest. They aid a DRS at the final corner, so I'm going to have to try and send it around this final turn. Going to be brave, we're going to try and keep the nose in. Just be very, very gentle on the steering, but out of the final corner, it's not going to be fastest. Where is it going to be? It's a 14.3 there. I think we line up about P4, P3 on the grid. It's ahead of Max, though, most importantly. Well, there we go. Pierre Gasly timing the conditions beautifully there. The only car to get under a 114 in Q3. And Felipe Drugovich as well. Hats off to him. First time he's out-qualified me in this series there. But it's P3 on the grid. Max Verstappen down in P7. We have got a golden opportunity here. But I said that last weekend. Let's not get ahead of myself. Let's just try and see what we can do here at Zandvoort.
Welcome along then to the North Sea coast and to the Zandvoort circuit. We're 25 miles away from Amsterdam for today's Dutch Grand Prix. It's a race the great Jim Clark won on 4 occasions, leading for an astonishing total of 370 laps. A lap of this short 2.6 miles Zandvoort circuit features 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with a 678 metre main straight heading into turn 1, Tarzan Corner. And on that straight with DRS open, that'll be the best overtaking opportunity on this track. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. A fantastic effort from Pierre Gasly yesterday puts him on pole position, and Felipe Drugovich completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Mr. Monaco, Leclerc, Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Verstappen, Russell, Albon, Tsunoda, Fittipaldi, Magnussen, De Vries, Ocon, Théo Pourchaire, Liam Lawson, Halger, Joe, Doohan, Bottas, Sargent, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Alongside me to discuss all the action today is Natalie Pinker. Thanks for joining us, Natalie. And tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, the surface looks clean enough, but I'm a little bit worried about the track temperature. It's pretty cool out there, which could give some teams difficulties when it comes to keeping their tyres in the right operating window. The cars out there that work their tyres hard and really put a lot of energy through them, well, they'll be the ones that are better off.
Right, well, here we are then. Trackside ready for the Dutch Grand Prix. And again, another huge opportunity to take points out of Verstappen. But this time round, we really, really need to try and capitalise on it. 36 laps ahead of us here from Zandvoort. It's going to be an interesting one. But my goal is just try and get to the front. And with Drugovich on mediums, hopefully that'll make it just a little bit easier. Right, let's see what we can do, though, here at Zandvoort. Dutch Grand Prix time, 5 red lights. A mighty long hole, but it is lights out, and away we go. Well, not if you're Felipe. That horrible start immediately drops down from the front row on the grid down to the very best 6th place there. I have no idea how many places he's lost through turn 1. There is Gasly storming off into an early lead here as he tries to chuck that Mercedes through the first couple of corners. Carlos Sainz there, almost going for a torpedo move onto me. I saw that in the rearview mirror and almost thought it was going to be GG's, as I think Drugovich even has dropped down to about P9 off the start. So a nightmare start for my teammate here in this race. We're really hoping, of course, you know, we know how difficult it is to overtake around here. He's going to have a chance to recover some places, of course, not only for him, but also for our Constructors' Championship. Red Bull did a number on our title lead last weekend, so really hoping we can do something to try and build that back up here. But Gasly, though, really trying to bolt free at the start. Mercedes have often been weirdly strong around this venue inside F123, so I'm sure Pierre would love to try and get his first win for the Brackley-based organisation this season. Of course, his first win as well inside F123, if I remember correctly there. But rounding that at the final corner again, we're going to try and utilise the lower line there out of the final corner. Just try and save, even if it's just a few hundredths of a second. It could all make a difference there as Piastri finding his way around Carlos Sainz down at turn 1. The Australian clearly feisty, and now we've got 3 separate Mercedes teams, Mercedes-powered teams, all in the top 3. I tell you what, Pierre Gasly is absolutely going for it here early on. A 109.2. It's very, very aggressive race pace early on in a GP there. You can already see we've got close to a 2-second gap over Oscar and Carlos behind me. But yeah, Mercedes have looked quick all weekend. George Russell couldn't quite get it hooked together in the final qualifying session, but Gasly found the pace, found the time, and he is just trying to build a margin early. It's very, very rarely do we get races that start with this kind of tempo inside F123. Gasly and I are just absolutely relentless here. It feels like we're doing qualifying laps to kickstart a Grand Prix despite the heavy fuel and everything else. We are inching away from Oscar Piastri a little bit further behind. But yeah, this one going to take a lot of concentration then, I can already tell. So we just take a couple of tenths out of Pierre that time round. But yeah, we want to get back in the DRS range. That'll be quite important early on here and maybe warrant quite a few tenths of a second. Which, of course, you know, around a track like Zandvoort where it's very fine margins could be very, very important there as well. A little bit of tiny bit of front locking through there. But yeah, the car does flow very nicely around this venue. Like I said, this was... Oh, hello. This is very much one of those tracks that works well in F123 that was awful to drive in F122 as we just get a little bit out of shape. Let's just focus up again. This is the other problem you get around Zandvoort is still the tyre overheating issues, especially as the cars are building up the sort of speeds they're able to with all the upgrades on them. Gasly and Mercedes seem to be able to monitor that very, very well early on. We just had a couple of very untidy laps that have allowed Carlos Sainz to close in on me here, so need to refocus and regroup. You can see Gasly probably still locked in at the low 109s. That was a 111, so really not fast. There we go, yeah, Gasly's at a low 110, sorry. But we need to get closer again. We need to build up a margin to Carlos. When I said a minute ago about how this track works so much better in F123 than it did on F122, never let that also distract you from the fact it's still a circuit that the AI is stupidly OP on. Where it's old school and obviously there's just no room for error, of course the AI can just hit perfect lines every single time around here. I can't, quite simply. So any kind of misjudgment, of course, what we know how bad the grip is, obviously like when you get to the track edge and things like that, AI just won't do that. They can be within millimeters of it every single time. So we definitely are starting to struggle early on here. I'm kind of trying to work out whether we could go for an undercut on Pierre and maybe open up a little bit of a margin there. I'm looking at that gap ahead of the Haas. Probably should also add at this point that currently, for those of you that don't know, we're actually going through a heat wave here in the UK again. 30 degrees outside my room at the moment. Probably closer to 34 inside it, which is not very fun. And of course, a lot of people go, oh, 34 degrees, that's nothing. We aren't built for this. I already feel like a sweaty mess, and I'm 12 laps in. It's, yeah, it feels like I can't imagine we're at quite the extremes of a real Formula 1 car, but it is warm, and that makes focusing and concentration very, very difficult. As what I'm thinking about doing is end of 14, diving in onto a set of the medium tyres, try and take us through to the end of the Grand Prix. That should be, well, hello, a couple of laps undercut on the AI, but also maybe bring us a bit closer to Pierre again. But I think, to be honest, Still very early on in the day. But I honestly reckon he's checked out and he's won this thing. Unless something crazy happens, as that is not the line through the stadium. Gather it up nicely on the exit, I suppose. Oh no, here comes Carlos Sainz as we're about to start lap 14. Drain the battery. The Spaniard, though, clean around the outside of me. Have to keep the nose there into turn 1. Very aggressive manoeuvre. Oscar Piastri will say thank you very much. And we'll slip past the Spaniard as well there through turn 1. So Oscar Piastri, yeah, really is utilising this race to his advantage early on. But Gasly now an 8-second lead at the front of the field. Well, I'm going to box the end of this one. Around in the final corner, though. Ready to box pit confirmed. Tyres aren't feeling awful, but they're certainly just feeling like we're sliding around quite a lot at this stage of the day. We are going to probably be first car into the pit lane. Make sure we don't do a Perez. Get the car slowed down into the pits. As, yeah, where are we going to re-emerge then? Looks like Alpine struggling around this venue as well today. So Magnussen and must be Nick de Vries, isn't it? Struggling, stuck behind them. 2.3 second stop, though, is not bad going. And we're going to come out exactly where I wanted then, ahead of those Haas cars. Oh, hello. There's an Armco barrier there, Matt. That was scary. Come on, get on with it. Yeah, we're out ahead of the Haas cars, but we got a good 6-second gap to those in front. Oh, there we go. A few cars into the pit lane there. Knock on de Vries. I think that's the Mercedes Russell and Charles Leclerc all into the lane, so they're trying to get an undercut on some of our other runners as well. As, yeah, we haven't come out ahead by very far over them, so we've still got our work cut out. There we go, low more in, end of 16, almost now at half distance this afternoon. Yeah, Gasly has already re-emerged at the front of the field. Carlos Sainz, there he is, onto a set of hard tyres, so interestingly enough for him. But yeah, we'll be ahead of Piastri then, which is good. But I'm intrigued to see where Verstappen is going to re-emerge in all of this when he finally boxes. There we go, Magnussen peels into the pit lane as well then. So I think our top 3 actually are yet to box because they're all on mediums. Oh, sorry, well, Albon, Drogovic, and I think it's still Verstappen at the front of the field. It might be Yuki Tsunoda, we don't quite know at the moment. But yeah, they're able to extend the stint obviously a little bit further. Often we see the AI do half the Grand Prix, half and half it mediums to hards, but it could be, you know, try and extend it. Oh, as you just see there, you nick the grass ever so slightly and just throws the car wide. But yeah, they might be able to try and extend, you know, sort of 21, 22 and then go softs to the end. But the AI just don't normally tend to. Drogovic back into the pit lane once again then. Alex Albon is going to join him, so we will get confirmation of which Red Bull it is at the front. And it is Yuki Tsunoda then. Okay, so we know where Verstappen is roughly in this Grand Prix. He's a few cars behind as George Russell now has worked his way up into a net P3. Mercedes, absolute rocket ship this weekend. I mean, even when we're feeling confident at the moment, Gaz is still pulling out 6-7 tenths a lap on me. So surely we're going to see similar pace from George. Yellow's out. Someone's got issues. It appears to be an Alfa Romeo going slowly. Could that be about then later on in the day? It is going to be Valtteri Bottas out of the Dutch Grand Prix. We could have done with a safety car, but I don't think it's going to happen. As yep, Tsunoda will head back down the pit lane then. Well, back to P2. But Russell is breathing down my neck. Oh, no. No. George Russell will get down the inside. Maybe drag racing off the corner there, but I think the Merc's going to have me. And George Russell, that might have been the inevitable anyway, I think, with the pace he's had. But we'll make it even easier for him then. Russell now up to P2. Didn't have as great a qualifying as his teammate, but that Merc round here, absolutely rapid. Are we going to be able to try and get a run on him at the final corner? Like I said, we're running so much downforce here. We are gaining, though, on George Russell. We're not going to give it up without a fight. Down around the outside at turn 1. No, we nicked the wheel on the grass. And Oscar Piastri again will say thank you very much. And into P3 he goes. Come on, don't start fumbling now again. Just try and stay close. Like I said, I think Russell probably too quick today. But Oscar Piastri, surely we can match him. Oh, I'm just starting to lose the range of Oscar Piastri as we round our way through the final corners of lap 24. We are giving it absolutely everything here, but it seems like there's just other cars quicker than us. Are we seeing A bit of a shake-up in the form here, of course. Audi and Red Bull dominating every race prior to the Belgian Grand Prix last weekend. Ferrari finally stopped the two-team dominance, and it looks like Mercedes are going to instantly open up their count as well, as Maranello have done so there. But yeah, Verstappen now suddenly has found a way around Charles Leclerc as well. So now it's me versus my big championship rival. Could things get quite dramatic towards the end? I'm sure he'd love to put on a show for his home crowd, and we want to do anything we can to stop it. Here comes Verstappen to the outside. Just about to try and make sure we give him some room there through turn 1. He's going to really try and squeeze me, is the Dutchman. Can he get the run off the corner? No, he can't. Now we're going to be a little bit compromised in through 2 and 3. All running very, very wide on the exit there, and Verstappen almost into the back of me off the corner, but we hang on and we live to fight another day. Here we go then. Again, Max is going to look for it down around the outside into turn 1. Again, we're going to have to be aggressive on the brakes. We've got Carlos Sainz now watching in the wings as the Dutchman going to try and make it through around the outside through turn 2. We haven't seen this yet by an AI. He's going to try and run me deep in through the hairpin there. Oh, contact! As Verstappen, I think, wanted to try and squeeze me out off the exit, but we held our ground. We're not going to allow him just to barge me out. This is getting very, very spicy right towards the end of the Dutch Grand Prix. Neither of us in the fight for the win anymore. That looks to be going Pierre Gasly's way, but it's looked like that since the end of Saturday. But who will take points out of the other one? Oh, Verstappen even closer to me at the final corner this time round. The Dutchman still going to try and look for it as we head over the start-finish line. Time round. Oh, he almost gets a full car length ahead. We really send it into the first corner there. And that time round, able again just about to hang on. But Verstappen, I'm sure, will be getting more and more frustrated, stuck behind me. I think Verstappen is starting to struggle on his tyres because Tsunoda now has suddenly gone around the outside of his teammate. Maybe the Dutchman's got a mechanical gremlin or something like that late on in the day here. But yeah, Yuki Tsunoda getting around the outside of him into the stadium section. He's still got the Ferraris of my teammate all over his gearbox as well. 7 laps to go of this race. Team already starting to get a little bit worried about the tyres, and to be honest, so am I. What are we able to do? Red Bull Civil War seems to be going on behind me though, as we round the final corner once again. Tsunoda the gap up over a second momentarily. Can we now get out of the DRS as there goes Verstappen around the outside? We can see him side by side through the first corner. Tsunoda though again looks to be hanging on. This was not in the Red Bull script this weekend. Well, I wonder if Red Bull have told Yuki on the on the fresher tyres to go for it, and if he can't complete the move, let Max by. As you can see, Tsunoda instantly going to be on the attack down at the bottom of the hill. We have done such a defensive drive today. 4 laps to go here from Zandvoort. You can see actually though the gap to Piastri and Russell hasn't really opened up that much either. I think they've been duking it out quite aggressively as well late on in the day. But here comes Tsunoda once again to the outside. Your teammates tried it countless times. Why do you think you're going to get any different treatment, Yuki? As well, hang on once more. I think Max is getting a bit bored though. Stuck behind Tsunoda once again, and look at that, the gap instantly opening up just a little bit more here. This is absolutely pivotal for us as Tsunoda again will hang on from Max Verstappen then. So clearly there is some concern down at Red Bull. So are we going to see one of those Ferraris get involved? That's exactly what I want. I need Verstappen scoring as few points as possible here. Only 8 races to go with the championship, and it's still so nip and tuck between myself and the Dutchman there, as Tsunoda again appears to have hung on through the first few corners, and the gap now 2 seconds. Rounding our way then into the final lap of the Dutch Grand Prix. It certainly has not been the race I was expecting today, but it has been filled with drama and intrigue there, and I think the biggest story we can walk away from this is either Pierre Gasly back on top, a Grand Prix winner with Mercedes, or the Red Bull Civil War. Max Verstappen, so often has he been the number 1 within that team, but Checo Perez winning the world title last year, and now suddenly Yuki Tsunoda getting his elbows out with the Dutchman at his home Grand Prix as well there in a very, very tight championship battle. Don't forget, George Russell looks to be wanting to try and complete the Mercedes 1-2 though as well. Oscar Piastri though has pushed them hard all afternoon there. The Aston Martin car really has come alive through this venue. But in towards the final couple of corners, though, Pierre Gasly, it was a move that we all expected heading into this season. Mercedes have talked up about him ever since the rumours of Hamilton's potential retirement. Gasly is back on top of a Formula 1 podium this weekend. Mercedes, as George Russell rounds the final corner, are going to be back as well with a 1-2 there, and that really spices up the championship between them and Ferrari there. 4 teams now with Grand Prix wins this season. Rounding the final corner, though, it's P4 for us. It's not a trophy, but we will take the points out of Max.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
A difficult race then on a circuit that demands complete concentration, but they persevered to take the win here today. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, confidence breeds confidence. Success breeds success. They are very much enjoying a purple patch right now.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take the top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Well, you've put me in a tight spot today, but I think I'll go for Pierre Gasly. He kept a cool head under pressure and made the very most of some difficult circumstances.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. The owner-drivers team moved to the top of the table. There was also a strong showing from the Mercedes team today as they make their way up the standings. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, there we go then. Pierre Gasly, pole position, didn't quite take fastest lap, but a race victory there and the full 44 points for Mercedes. Oscar Piastri will round out the podium there ahead of myself and Yuki Tsunoda. Verstappen, Sainz, Leclerc, Drugovich and Enzo Fittipaldi rounding out our top 10. They're gutted for Felipe. He could have had a really, really good race this weekend. But it does mean championship-wise, the gap at the top cut down to just 12 points between myself and Max Verstappen there. Tsunoda now 1 point behind my old teammate Lando. Norris Drugovich gets the jump on Kevin Magnussen as well there. And Oscar Piastri back up to best of the rest ahead of Charles, ahead of Carlos, and ahead of George Russell as Gasly. I mean, really, yeah, looking at that, Oscar Piastri all the way down to Felipe Drugovich, definitely still within a fight for P5 by the end of the year there. Constructors-wise, though, the gap 41 points, so it has gone up ever so slightly because of this weekend's result. Ferrari still in P3 there, but Merck now up into 4th ahead of Aston and Alpine there. But still, yeah, that is going to be a battle to watch out for between now and the end of the season. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we will return tomorrow to the Temple of Speed. I'll be honest, not sure I'm looking forward to that with our Mercedes power. A massive thank you to my Patreon supporters that you can see currently on your screens. If you want to join them from as little as £1 a month, it would be massively appreciated and you help support my work. You also get access to weekly updates from myself with everything going on behind the scenes with the channel. But yeah, a massive thank you to the names you see on your screen, and we'll be back very soon with a brand new video.